Hello, are you here to debate?
Yep.
All right. Can I just get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Chris, 32, and he/him, I guess, according to your ideology there.
According to my, okay. I mean, if you don't want to go by he, him, you can go by anything you want. Do you want to go by she, her instead? They, them?
I'm just trying to be respectful of, you asked the question, so just
well,
trying
yeah,
to be
you said it
respectful.
was according to my ideology, but I'm just talking about like basic grammar, right? Pronouns are a part of the English language. I'm just asking what yours are, right? That's not a ideology thing.
I just wouldn't. Sorry, if you're, I wouldn't have even included it, but yeah, he, him are the pronouns I would use if I was like writing about myself.
There we go. Perfect. Beautiful. What do you disagree with on the board? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I'll say, there are shades to each of these. Probably the number one is trans men and women.
Okay.
I would say that, while I respect somebody's right to display however they want, I don't think that a woman can become a man and a man can become a woman. I could give you a little.
I don't. Just real quick.
Thought paradigm.
Just real quick. I don't really think that women are becoming men. That's not the way that I view gender and like specifically like transgender individuals. I think they are people who were societally viewed as men. For instance, like a trans woman would have been societally viewed as a man until she came out, but her gender identity probably always more likely aligned with woman. And I believe gender is an internal critique of our internal sense of self. So because of this, I would say that she was a woman because she always had that internal sense of self of being a woman.
But, well, okay, so would you say that I or somebody that defines woman differently should call that person a woman and give them all of the attributes and, social arrangements that would go along with that, even if personally I believe that a woman is somebody that is capable of, like, let's say childbearing, which is one of the Merriam-Webster definitions that you brought up?
Yeah, I would that's loud.
I
would say I don't really care if you do or don't. I would say societally we should grant these people the rights that they ask for, right? Especially if there's no harm in doing so, which I don't view a harm in. You don't have to, right? You can be like, I don't want to call them this. Like, okay. I think it just kind of makes you a bit of a dick, but like, that's your prerogative, you know?
So, I'm sorry, that really loud sound distracted me. Could you say that again? I apologize.
Yeah, I think if you don't want to, call trans women or allow them allow them the rights that are afforded to women, I think that just makes you a bit of a dick. Like if you want to do that, fine. I think it's just dickish, you know?
You don't think there's any like nuance there, like as far as like the same restroom or the sports thing goes, or even just like the compulsion of like, if I have certain beliefs that center more around biology and they're less about like the, social strata, you don't think that is also a respectable platform?
I think there's tons of nuance. I think there's absolutely nuance in like every conversation, but I think I've been having these conversations for 5 years now at this point. I don't necessarily think that the nuance holds to the side of quote unquote biology. Like we can look at like bathrooms. I don't believe there's actually really any nuance in the bathroom conversation unless you want to say like all bathrooms should have private stalls. That's where I think the nuance would come into. Sports, I don't think there's any nuance besides saying that like we should probably have some level of criteria of like how long you need to be on HRT. But I also just don't really give a shit about like an unfair advantage in sports. I kind of just think all sports should be co-ed anyway. I don't really give a shit. And then like nuance in like language and like compelled speech, absolutely not. I think we compel speech all the time. I don't think compelled speech is necessarily a bad thing. I think that we should probably cater speech to like being respectful in society and things like that. I don't necessarily see a problem with that.
Oh man, so for the last two, I think I disagree. So for the middle one, as far as like the sports thing goes, I wouldn't say I'm like a elite athlete, but I'm a pretty good athlete, and I'm around people that use HRT and TRT and steroids, and I've gone through probably 12 years of training. I've never taken the stuff myself. Uh, the advantages that testosterone can give you, even after like 10 years of not having it, are pretty enormous.
Okay,
I'm going to be honest about that one.
Sure, who's the athlete that's like has this massive advantage and is like not being beaten by like cisgender women?
Like, you want a particular name of an athlete?
Well, yeah, if we're gonna claim that it is the case that trans women, even after HRT, have this massive advantage in that testosterone has given them, which I don't necessarily agree. From the numbers I've read, that the advantages tend to even out over the course of 2 years, especially over 3. But like let's say it doesn't. Let's say that it doesn't, and that trans women are given this massive advantage. Who's the trans woman that's dominating in her field? Because I've not seen any. I've seen a bunch of trans women that have been beaten by cisgender women. So if it is the case that cis women can beat them,
go ahead.
I'm just saying, if it's the case that they can be beaten by cisgender women, then I just don't know I don't know what the issue would be.
Gotcha. So I haven't kept up exactly, but what I would say in general is, like, for a man that has taken testosterone or a woman that has taken testosterone, and I know both cases, and then they stop taking testosterone, 10 years later, 5 to 10 years later, they're still significantly stronger than if they hadn't done that. And it's pretty obvious. It's pretty, like, you don't need to, like, it's like to the point where you kind of don't have to measure it. You can kind of just look at them and be like, wow, that person is far and above a normal person, even a normal person walking around the gym. But I think that's probably the less critical.
I don't know that I would agree with that, because we've seen people who are taking testosterone or some level of steroids to help them with like weightlifting, and then when they stop, they lose that muscle mass very quickly. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know that the science agrees with you on that.
I would just appeal to the audience on this one. I think that people in the know, and there are a variety of creators and stuff that may weigh in on this on YouTube. But hopefully they do. I know you're trying to grow a channel, but I do think people in the know would agree with me on this. This is kind of, if you train for a while, it's something that you kind of know. And again, that is anecdotal. I'm not quoting a study, but I would say that if you looked at like people in the fitness space, they would know that. But I'm actually a little bit more concerned with the second topic, where you're saying compelled speech is in general like okay. So
yeah, we compel speech all the time.
What you mean there?
Yeah, we typically compel speech when it comes to like that speech causing harm on different populations. We do this all the time. There's a reason why you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, right? There's a reason why like it's illegal to engage in.
So that's a very immediate danger, and it's also a danger to everyone, and it's indiscriminate, and it's not very clear how staying silent puts anyone in danger. But I feel like there's more nuance to discussions like this.
Well, wait, but again, there's this isn't the only speech. Like I said, if your speech is related to some level of harm, we tend to compel that speech, right? Like making threats against somebody.
Well, yeah,
is illegal
but
in multiple
usually
places
that harm has other qualities that you're not bringing up. So those other qualities would be that it's like incredibly generalized, it's immediate, it's physical. So like,
sure. Let me ask you a different question. Do you believe, and I'm not asking you about legality here. I just want to ask you like morally. Do you believe it's okay? Okay. Do you believe it's okay for a white person to call a black person the N-word? Do you believe like morally, like that's okay, morally and ethically?
No. I mean, I don't think that you should just go around, like, I don't think it's incredibly bad. I obviously think there's a gray area, but I think that, you know, if you're intending to hurt somebody with that phrase, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, there's a gray area.
You could
Okay.
obviously say it, you know, like I know white people, you know, I grew up in an area where I was around a lot of, you know, African American black people. And I know white people that said it, and they said it in a way that was accepted by all the black people just fine. And they didn't mean it in a malicious way, and it just seemed fine when they said it then. But there are times where it's completely inappropriate to say it, and it's really context driven. And you know, there's even very benign
Wait,
words that
let's
are
hold on, hold on.
context driven like that.
Let's wait, but let's just analyze that. Even if
Yeah.
I have a group of black people, there's like 2 or 3 black people that go, yeah, this one white person can say it. Do you think that like them using the word is still wrong, or do you think it's okay at that point?
No, I don't think the word is inherently wrong. I just think that it's like really.
Well, I agree. I don't think it's inherently.
It.
I don't think it's inherently wrong. I do think there's a level of unethicalness or moral wrongness when white people use it. So again, I'm not talking like legality here. I'm talking about do we believe
even
it's
when white people use it? Like let me give an example. I'm 20. Like how black do you have to be to use it? Like my grandfather was black, and like large portions of my family were black, right? And I'm talking, this is actually real, but I look really white. Like I'm like 80 to 75% white. You know, you could think like Logic or somebody like that. You know, and it's like, well, how black do I need to be to say the word in front of all my black family uses? You know, oh, that's hard, man. What I'm saying is I think this is a real gray scale, and it's really more about the intent in the moment when you're using the word, and it's a lot less about the rule, a hard and fast rule about the word.
Okay, so you think the intent of the use of a word is more important. So what is the intent?
Yeah, I actually,
what is
and in general, I'd like to say in general, this is actually a problem I kind of have. I'm pretty center, maybe a little center right. I have a little problem with the left here, and I think they try to lay down these hard and fast rules when the world doesn't really work like that. It's not built to accommodate that sort of logical
I'm not asking
framework.
about rules, right? I'm not asking about rules. I'm asking about like moral correctness, and I'm asking about like the ethicalness of this thing. But I just want to, you said it's about
a system of rules. Like,
no, morality is not a system of rules. Laws would be a system of rules.
Well, I mean, morality is, isn't morality like a system of different, like socially agreed upon and internally agreed upon rules? And
not necessarily.
Okay, well,
I wouldn't make the.
I'm actually going to have to jump a little early, but I'll probably try to call back in later because I have some work to do, and I got called in. That's the sound you heard earlier.
Okay.
But I'm really interested in this topic. I think that you were pretty balanced here, and based on some of the other stuff, I was scared you might not be. So, what was the exact question? And I'll try to call back in after.
Well, I was just going to say, if the words morality consists to intent, I would say that if you're calling trans women men, then that your intent is harm. Your intent is that you don't believe that they are who they're saying they are, and then that is a level of harm. I would say that's an unethical thing to do. The intent there makes that unethical.
That's an interesting say. I think. Let me weigh that. Hopefully I can call back in soon. I think you got my number, and I'm sorry I had to run so unexpectedly, but I like this exchange, my friend. I think you were pretty nice about it. So I'll keep watching the show. I'll try to call back in, and I think we're on 2 different sides, but we'll see what we can agree on.
Alrighty.
All right.
It's crazy when people go, yeah, I don't think it's bad for white people to use the N-word. Boggles my mind. What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching this video, and I want to give a special shout out to my YouTube members. Their names are on the side. Membership starts at $2.99 a month, and you get early access to videos, exclusive members-only videos, and access to the Red Mirror Media Discord server. Thank you again to my members, and thanks for watching.